Weirdly artistic. Weirdly artistic.
Damn, that's weird. We're back with Nick, Jay, and Jose.
It's weirdly artistic. We're talking art.
We're talking weird and everything under the sun.
Weirdly artistic.
Damn, that's weird.
Weirdly artistic.
Welcome back. This is Weirdly Artistic After Dark.
After Dark.
So this is a bonus episode 4, part 2.
4.5. What wasn't there a Shrek 2.5 or something like that?
There was.
Yeah.
It was part of the movie, and it was just like some extra.
Dude, I remember at the end of Shrek, dude, there was that sing-along song, dude. Shrek karaoke dance party.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't go changing.
No, well, my favorite was that if you didn't vote for one of the main characters, it was Simon Cowell that would come on and like do like a fucking solo of some shit. Do you remember that? No? Dude, okay.
I remember the Shrek karaoke dance party.
That's what it was, but it was like you would get to vote at the end of it on like the DVD player or whatever.
No shit.
Yeah, you never like did that?
I don't think I voted.
And like, okay, so if you voted for
don't
Donkey, Shrek, or like Fiona, like it would be like, oh yeah, like they would go to like their little sequence. But if you voted for anyone else, Simon would come up stage and just do like a fucking song on his own, dude. It was like, I'm kind of sad DVD like is obsolete at this point.
Oh, those were
but
good
dude,
times.
dude.
They fucking we're gonna talk about AI. We're talking about Shrek the whole time. No, all I remember was the Executioner guy. I just want somebody. God, it's so.
But they were fire though. They had like great songs.
Who let the dogs out? Who?
No, dude, that was
All you need is a drummer.
fucking Pinocchio, dude.
Oh,
dude, that was pretty good. That was good.
Thank you,
That was
thank you.
fucking good.
Do you know the Muffin Man? Or I was like, not my gumdrop buttons. Well, he's married to the Muffin Man. The Muffin Man. The Muffin Man.
Dude, okay, like this, like it hurts my heart a little bit, but like it's for me, it's so much funnier in Spanish.
Really?
Because so the script is completely different, right? So like in the English, it's like it references a lot of like American culture.
Mm-hmm.
In Spanish, they bring in like Mexican comedian for Donkey.
Oh,
They
no
bring in
shit.
like actual
Okay,
actors
so
for each character,
that's
and they
cool.
change the jokes to be like Mexican culture.
That's cool. I
And
did
it's
not know
so
that.
fucking
Do you know
funny, dude.
Spanish?
I'm fluent. English
No
is my
shit.
second language.
No shit.
Yeah.
Wow. That's cool.
Yeah, no, I feel like every time I hang out with you, like one-on-one, like I learn a little bit more about you, and now
I
you're
know, and I
learning
learn
a
more
little bit
about
more
you.
about
This
me.
is cool. We're hanging out alone.
Yeah, dude.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh my
After
God.
Dark with
Dark.
Jack and Jose.
Who knows what can happen?
I hate you.
Fucking, I want to be here.
No, but yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna we just have a little tech talk, I guess.
So on Weirdly Artistic, we wanted to for season 2 bring in a little bit more of tech into. It's going to become a segment where we kind of have hot tech that's coming out, whether it's with editing software, cameras, or just any cool like audio tech and stuff like that helps us in our industry. And if you want to learn about it, we'll have a little bit of a 5 to 15 minute talk about what's hot and new.
This is gonna be a little different.
This is a little bit different to that, but it's going to be like a nice little intro where we
Of course.
talk about AI in editing and AGI that Jack, I feel, knows a lot about. So you guys might have heard on the previous episode, part 1, that Jack was on here as a guest for season 1, but we had a lot of technical difficulties.
As a production company, yeah.
All right, so it was acts of God where we had a power surge with our camera, so it just cut off 20 minutes in. It was
Blames
like an hour
God.
episode.
Yep. The only guy we can't
And
talk
I'm an
to,
atheist, so it's
yeah.
crazy. But so we lost 40 minutes of footage, and we had no audio to my mic, so it was just unusable footage.
It was a shit show.
So,
yeah.
So Jack mentioned that, and we had a very good AI talk, a very good AGI talk, and they're similar but very differing in some aspects.
Yeah.
Jack, take it away. What's the difference between AI and AGI?
Yeah, so I can start there, and then I'm going to kind of incorporate the artistic part of this podcast. So the first thing, when I feel like any listeners out there who don't know exactly, I feel like a lot of people some people are hopeful, some people are scared, and people are scared of things they don't understand, right? And it's hard.
And I mean,
to,
I mean, just like with the unknown, now that's what I feel like fear itself comes from is just the fear of the unknown. It's like you don't know,
exactly.
so you're scared.
You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And it's I think that's actually a very good starting point because what we call AI now. So first and foremost, I'm going to give a works cited page for this because a lot of what I'm going to say is from reading. I've read a lot of shit, watched a lot of shit. Most of it is from Dr. Ben Goertzel, who is the founder of Singularity.net, the inventor of the Sophia robot, and is one of the pioneers leading towards AGI. So a lot of the things that I'm going to say are regurgitated in my own mind from him. So I want to give him the proper credit for what I have learned because most of everything I've learned.
format, so
Yes, exactly. This is my works cited. A lot of the things I'm going to say are going to be quotes or whatever from him, as that's who I listen to.
To the best of his memory.
Yes, to the best of my memory.
So take everything we say with a grain of salt. Do your own research. As with anything, be a good adult and don't take what we say as fact.
Of course.
Do your own research
and
form your own opinion.
Yes, I just wanted to put that out there first. So first thing, amazing starting point because AI is it is the term that's stuck is what I think is people.
It's
everyone
the umbrella.
Knows,
right?
yes, everyone knows what AI is, and it's the term that's stuck, and it's not a good name for it, in my personal opinion. So what I like to boil it down to is you have narrow AI and AGI. So AGI is artificial general intelligence, okay? That is, we're going to equate that to basically like human level intelligence and beyond. And then you have narrow AI, which is good for doing specific tasks, like fucking Autopod or whatever. Or it's really good at, chopping up a podcast
it's
video.
The butter robot from Rick and Morty.
Yeah, exactly.
What is my purpose?
Butter. Yeah.
You spread butter.
God. Yeah, exactly.
It's like, oh no.
So I believe, and this is personally, I believe that most of everything we have now is narrow AI. And what I'm going to get into that is that people are scared at ChatGPT, Google Bard, and Google Lambda, or whatever the fuck it's called, Google DeepMind now, or whatever it is. And what people don't understand is that these are not intelligences in a way. So what the common consumer goes on one of these websites and they give it something to do. And it is impressive.
Yes.
It is impressive. And so what I'm going to reference these throughout the rest of this video is called LLMs. They're called large language models. And that's what a ChatGPT is, a Google Bard, anything, you insert text and you ask it to do something, it can do it. And it's really fucking cool. It is cool. Like, especially from
a great tool.
From a programming standpoint, it's insane. Any programmers out there, if I can't figure, or say I'm lazy and I don't want to do this.
Like just coding itself, like ChatGPT and
will
like others will code for you, and it takes human error out of the equation in a sense.
Exactly.
Right?
And they don't get it always right. And we're going to circle back to this with the with the art aspect of it, because there is a human part of it.
Yeah.
But a great example was at my current work, my boss wanted all of our inventory on our website able to be easily printed out into like a quadrant of 4 squares with a picture, make, model, year of the vehicle, mileage, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
So instead of manually doing that, which I knew I could, I just had to figure it out and go through bug testing and all this shit. It was a very specific prompt, but I gave it to ChatGPT, which did not do very well. Google Bard did very well. And I still had to edit it and make it work to what I wanted, but it took hours out of time. But anyway, so back to the differences of those. AGI, artificial general intelligence, and narrow AI is what we're going to call those. So the big thing going on in the industry right now is like OpenAI is the people that made ChatGPT. And people think that, or these companies or groups of people believe that an LLM can be the basis for a general intelligence.
Okay.
And I guess I'm kind of here to say why that's not going to happen and why I don't believe that is the main thing in the whole aspect. I think it can be a part of it. An LLM
Right.
can be a part of a branch of a
Part of the
nucleus
foundation,
things.
part of the
Part of it, but
not
and
the whole.
exactly. And what's really cool about these LLMs is you spit something into it, but if you really look at it, they're really good because they have they I have to collect my words here. They have all of this information. So they're really good at doing a lot of different things because their programming data is the whole fucking internet. It's
Right.
everything that humans have.
Yeah.
The reason why it's not scary to me and why people are like, it's going to take jobs, and it can take some jobs, yes, of course. It's not going to kill people and take over the world because of the one ideal of it is that these things have no way of, well, I'll just call abstracting, of where they are confined to their programming data, they are confined to their data set and their programming. They, as humans, we take leaps and bounds and we try new things. And a great thing that the Ben guy, an example that he said was that think of like if you go in and ask ChatGPT to write you a science paper, like
Right.
it's gonna spit out something. And if you're not a scientist, you'll think that it's probably a science paper. But to a scientist, it's not gonna be true at all.
Right.
Or it's gonna be something that's already there.
Okay.
Okay.
Like it's not going to discover something new for you.
Exactly.
Because well,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, like I mean, for like simple terms, I guess it's kind of like a cloud collective of information that's already there.
Yes.
So it can't learn something new that hasn't been discovered quite yet because it doesn't have that information.
Exactly. And so
Right.
it's stuck to its own fucking
Okay.
data. It's
Yeah,
stuck
yeah.
to its own data set. So, I mean, you talk to people in their 40s and 50s who, and there's a lot of people in their 40s and 50s who are very technologically savvy, but some of them didn't grow up with it like we did, and they're like
Right.
scared about it.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like these are not things that are they cannot go above and beyond what they have, and that's what everyone is all freaked out about. Now, when AGI does happen, which I believe at some point it will, that's also a scary thing because you have big corporations doing it, and you have Microsoft, you have Google, you have OpenAI, but they're backed by billions of dollars, and so what happens? It's almost like this race of the first one to get it right. So say that they do that. What are corporations going to use this for? It's
Right.
making more money, selling people shit they don't need, surveillance, spying, and the biggest moneymaker of all is war, so probably killing people even easier. Like
Right.
it's not good. The Singularity Net team is doing it on blockchain, which is so it's going to be completely decentralized and no one owns it,
Right.
which is they have kind of like a hippie type mentality towards
Right,
it, which
right.
is very cool.
It's for the people, by the people.
Yes, exactly. But with that, there's not a lot of funding with it. So, I mean, I
Right.
hope they make it first. And the Ben guy is just absolutely brilliant. But, yeah, that's kind of to narrow down your question about narrow versus,
AGI.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Narrow versus general.
Yeah, so the AI part of it, it just a general intelligence needs to take leaps and for things that it hasn't encountered before,
Right.
kind of thing.
Have you,
So,
and I'm again, like prior to this episode, I told you I'm pretty naive and in the dark when it comes to a lot of AI and AGI. Because like you said, you've read into it a lot. Have you ever heard of I think it was some sort of experiment that Google did. I think it was about a decade ago, where they had two AIs, two computers that were AI talking to each other, and they were communicating in the English language, and it got to a point where they were communicating in a new language.
I have heard that.
Right,
yes.
and the people conducting the experiment were so scared of like, what the fuck, we don't even understand what they're saying, so they shut them down.
Yes.
And I believe, correct me, people out there, if I'm wrong. And again, do your own research into this because I just know very general of what I read and heard. They shut them down, and one of the last things that one of those two AI said was, "Don't shut us down."
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
Which can people that don't know what the fuck is going on and that don't understand AI,
It can be scary.
It can be scary. Like
Yeah.
fuck, they can
Yeah.
think for themselves, type shit.
Exactly.
So I mean, I feel like that kind of adds to that, where it's like we don't know what the fuck is going on. It's
Yeah.
scary.
That's
you
a
know,
very
shut the-
great point.
Yeah.
And there's easily, if you understand it, you're easily not as scared. If you look at like an API call towards another, like APIs are, the back end of systems or a framework, and it allows you to communicate with it and basically, get post requests or request things from it and get data and send it to
Right.
them. Okay. If you look at those, it's illegible from a human standpoint. I mean, that's maybe not just those, but as they get down to the nitty gritty of
Yeah.
it, I mean, it's a lot of that is illegible, and you can think into if
like just coding languages in and of itself.
Yeah.
To the untrained eye, it's like, what the fuck is that?
yeah, but even beyond that,
Yeah.
it can be to even a trained eye as you get to these things talking to each other of spitting their own scripts out. You don't even know what the fuck it's saying. Right. And so as far as like don't shut us off or something like that, I mean, I highly doubt that those were generally intelligent, but assuming that they weren't, you can figure out that if you taught these programs of what they're in, and they have microphones or something, and they know what shut off means. I mean, if their purpose in the program was to keep running, then they're going to be like, well, that power off tells me not to do that.
See,
So
okay,
don't
and
shut
that's
us
an
off.
interesting point, because
Exactly.
like if you're telling you're programming these programs to, keep running, or like don't shut off type
Yeah,
thing. And
yeah.
if you're planning to shut them off, it's like, whoa, that's against my directive or against my programming.
Exactly,
Okay.
yeah.
So that's
Don't shut
and
off,
that's
yeah.
again, that's
Yeah.
in when you're, I guess, in a sense, if you're in that situation, you're like almost in a panic mode, right? Where it's like, oh fuck,
Yeah, exactly. 'Cause
shit, yeah, what the
'cause
fuck
it's
is
everyone's worst fear of
Right,
whatever.
right. And on top of that, I mean, we've had Terminator 1, 2, 3, 4, and,
Exactly.
and a million, and they've always been like, yo, these are going to take over at some point. So I can see
Yeah.
how like that preconceived notion of what AI is can be just a scary and daunting thing.
It is going to be scary. If it happens, they call it the singularity, is what they call
Right.
it. And where, to put it into perspective, it would be like Nobel Prize winning discoveries every like 5 seconds, right? Because
Shit.
as these things, if they get to
It's
human
an exponential growth.
a human
from
general
learning.
intelligence, from that it can keep learning, and then it's just gonna go fucking
Yeah.
crazy. I mean, then you're talking about like making atoms into something else or whatever the fuck, and then it gets weird culturally, because if that happens, then jobs aren't needed. That's when like UBI comes in, universal basic income. So impact on culture and society is going to be weird, but probably only in the developed countries at first,
Right.
because then they'll have their own little robots mining shit, in the underdeveloped for more processing or whatever the fuck.
More colonialism.
Yeah, something
Beautiful.
like that. Yeah. But when people, I mean, it is a scary thought, and people are scared of it because people are scared of change,
Right.
right? So it's but with that, if it's going to happen, I mean, it could be something beautiful, but also when people think like Terminator, it's going to kill everybody. But if you're talking about this thing becoming so intelligent, I mean, you would think that, I mean, a lot of these groups are trying to, raise it as a child, and then, if it can learn, teach it human values of empathy and compassion and things like that. If it gets that, you would think that it would have some sort of empathy towards us as its creator or something like that. But also, if it becomes so widely intelligent, I mean, when you park your car and you see, a little string of ants on the side, I mean, do you just have the inkling to go smush them if you're a normal person?
But here's
No,
and then
I mean-
again, all speculation and all.
of course.
When it comes to that, you also have to realize that humans aren't necessarily like the best thing for the world. So when you see, like, yes, like if we had something above us, right, and we always have this fear of like we're the apex predator when it, like right now, right,
Yeah.
we're the apex, we're the best,
Mhm.
we're the what's it called, the species that's like in the lead. I forgot. There's like a term for it.
Top of the food chain. or
Yeah,
something.
top of the
Yeah.
food chain, but like we're directing like where the world is going essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Ants don't necessarily have that. So like with AGI or like with AI that when it comes to that level, would be like,
Yeah, it's
ants
scary.
aren't an issue. They're part of the life cycle, but humans are destroying this planet. So like kind of like with Ultron, and we're getting a little more
Sci-fi.
sci-fi with
Yeah.
it. Like Ultron like went into the internet and saw, yo, humans create war, they destroy the planet, they're a parasite to the planet essentially,
Exactly.
like wipe them out, you know.
Yes.
So I can see how that'd be scary, as
It
we're not
will-
just ants, we're like a cancer to the planet. So like we could be
Yeah.
wiped out, and I think that's where people like almost instantly go anytime people are like,
Well,
AGI, they're gonna wipe us out and try to take over the world and all this shit.
that should be a big, mind thinker of why the fuck would it think that. We need to change, but that's a whole nother topic. But as far as like it thinking of that, and that's actually a really good point, to be honest, of it seeing what we're doing to the planet. And humans are not, I mean, I would say, I don't want to say humans are inherently good,
But we're also
but
not
we're not inherently
evil.
bad. But good and bad are stupid concepts in that.
It's subjective.
I mean,
Good and
it's
bad
like,
is subjective, right?
if we boil it down, this is another Ben thing. If you boil it down, it's like good is like, doing things for the collective of a group, and or like altruism, and bad
Right.
is selfishness, doing something for yourself, kind of thing. So I mean, humans are kind of in the middle, and I don't know how that's gonna go. I mean, I think that if we do it right, it's gonna be fine, and it could be very beneficial. But at the same time, I mean, it's it's a scary fucking thing. But it's, in my mind, it's like it's happening. So
Best to nurture it.
yeah, exactly. But in reference to people being scared of stuff, this was a good quote that I had, was that when like people use like the Chat GPT thing and they're just like wowed at it. This was a quote: "People overestimate the importance of individual thinking and underestimate the power of cultural knowledge, which is embodied in the internet." So it's people just see this one thing of this specific knowledge and really
Estimated.
estimate that and underestimate what the whole source is. And yeah, I think it's gonna be a scary thing. It's also kind of out of our control. I am scared to, I think if the wrong thing raises it, if it is something that needs to be raised, then yeah, we're really fucked.
Yeah.
But it can also be a tool for, I mean, the singularity thing goes beyond, it sounds sci-fi, but it's what people, this could fucking happen if this thing happens. I mean, it's like, okay, well, there's a global fucking brain and you can just upload your consciousness to it. I mean, what's crazy that's out there is that there are teams working on this that people don't understand. Like there's a company called, if you go to rejuve.io, it's about human life expansion. And like there are already teams.
Oh shit.
And yeah, rejuve.io, you can go to the website. There's teams working on this shit, and it's all for when AGI, and they're all connected into AGI. Now, people don't think AGI, or this team doesn't think AGI is going to be one thing. It's a ton of AIs talking to each other. And that framework is
So
already
like multiple
built.
consciousness or whatever. Like people upload their consciousness to this collective, and
That's in the future.
okay.
The AGI as a whole is a ton of different AIs that kind of like, which is why a lot of these people have psychology degrees. They're like recreating the different types of memory in your mind. Like, what do you have? You have like a,
Okay, interesting.
you have
Interesting.
fucking, memory of, you have motor memory. You have, God, can't fucking remember them all right now, but situational memory and all these other ones, and they're
Trying to all recreate all these aspects of what different memories can be.
Exactly. Yeah. And so a lot of this shit is already going on, and these teams are built and they're like ready for this shit. So it's like when it's not far off. I mean, I don't know if it was Hofstadter or whoever the fuck said it. I mean, he was thinking like 20.
Hofstadter's Big Bang Theory.
No.
Unless someone's like actually like named.
There's another author named that. And he was saying like 2030 this is gonna come out. And the Ben guy even thinks in the next 5 years, and he's boots on the ground doing it.
Yeah.
So It's happening.
And I mean, it's exponential, like from here, right? Like, I mean, with regular civilian tech, like every 10 years we would have this boom, and then it's gone shorter and shorter and shorter. And almost, it feels like almost every year we're getting like tech that's like, damn, like it gets better and better and better as.
Well, that's a good segue into the artist thing. I mean, from what you're doing here at a production company, I mean, what have you kind of seen AI do?
I mean,
what are the worries from being in that atmosphere?
So me and Nick, prior, and this goes back to like an early episode where we talked about AI and how it ties into the artistry aspect of it, where about, I want to say like 8 to 10 months ago, there was like a big boom when it came to AI art. Right, and I'm sure you saw it like on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook.
It was when DALL-E 2 came out. From OpenAI.
So, and there was like a big thing where people would put their like 4 to 5 photos on this AI thing, and it would spit out all these versions of yourself or whatever the fuck, right? Yeah. And a lot of people were trying to make money off of it, and we had this talk about how, like, what we thought of it essentially, and whether, from the artistry standpoint, whether it took away from real artists or not, right? Because it's like, when it comes to artists and their medium, you know, like let's talk about an actual painter, for example, right? Like, they're taking hours to paint this beautiful mural or painting or portrait or whatever, and you know, it has the human touch. But then now you can go onto this AI website, feed it some information, and it spits out something just as good, if not better, right? And people were trying to make money off of it, and it led into the ethics of, is this actual art or is this not art, all that kind of stuff.
I would love to touch on that.
And for me personally, like, I felt like it's not art, and I think it was stealing from artists, right? Because you could feed all this information of all these artists from decades upon centuries upon millennia of art, and have it spit out something in 5 to 10 minutes, right? Is it art? And should people be allowed to make money off of it?
Okay, great questions. First thing, which we can kind of go at your question a few different ways. The first thing is, you mentioned time a lot. So does time make the art? Because you mentioned like an artist takes painting, and so are you talking about like effort into it? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I mean, it's there's so many different moving facets on that, right? Because it's not just the time itself, because it does take hours for one single person to create something, right? It takes not just the time itself, but the years of practice and learning that they had to learn. And then this programmed intelligence can do it in seconds.
Yeah.
But it does take, like you said, even earlier with like the science paper, to a scientist or to an artist, is it art? Like, they can see, like, I guess, the lack of human touch, right?
Okay.
It's logically perfect, but I feel like that's what takes away from it, you know?
No, I definitely get what you're saying.
Like, I don't know, it's just such a big question that it's like, it's hard to narrow down to what exactly we're trying to talk about.
I think that it has to look at what is your goal of an outcome. Yes, if you're talking about like an artist as a career and money, then yeah, it's gonna get sticky, as with anything when it comes to money. But as far as like a outcome, like if let's just talk about the source of the art, then you're talking about AI or like a human being. If the output can still provide emotion and convey meaning, which is kind of the general consensus of art, then it still did its purpose. But
it's still art, because art, again, it's such a subjective thing. It's not like math or science where it's like there is one right answer. It's very subjective. I guess, if it can emote and like move you and you know, create that emotion, I guess it's still in and of itself art, right?
And so I think also, as a reflection of society, like traditional art, like what we think of like traditional art is a reflection of that era, right? Where you have, you know, back in the 1800s, 1700s, different mid-century pieces and Renaissance era and all this other shit. Like it's almost like ours is AI derived art can serve as a display of the relationship between like
Of
humans and
the
technology.
current culture. I
Yeah,
guess,
and it's
right?
like we are. I mean, we are already in a relationship with technology. I mean, our phones are on us at all times, and they already. I mean, we're gonna act like. I mean,
You feel naked without it. Like
well,
if you're out, you forget it, and it's like,
right.
oh fuck, dude, I'm
yeah,
ah.
exactly. From an emotional standpoint,
yeah,
but
yeah,
also
yeah.
from a physical, logical standpoint, you are 1,000 times smarter with that phone in your pocket, and technology is already an extension of ourselves. It already is there.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, AI art. I mean, it's just a display of that in our era, kind of thing. And I'm not saying I'm for AI being art. I actually don't have the answer to that. It's just an opinion. I don't really have an opinion on it. It's more just
And again,
kind
this
of-
is just an opinion. Like
Yeah.
this is
yeah. I mean, the
Don't
added
cancel us.
human element is, I think that my initial reaction to that is to be like, yeah, it's necessary because it's art, it's fucking, it's how it's always been,
Yeah.
and then, but I need to like separate myself from that. And again, it does get sticky with money and careers and stuff. But if you actually, I think if you fundamentally like melt down what art is, it's meant to give an emotional response and a meaningful response of the viewer. It's like a lot of times people can see a piece and get 25 different things out of it, and that's what's the beauty of it. So even though the artist spent all this time trying of what he thought it was and what it meant, which if they hear that can display something else, which you'll never get that from an AI thing. But if other people derive emotion and meaning from it, then
And I guess also kind of going off of that, it's like just like what you were saying is like as an artist, you're trying to portray something, right? And then it can be interpreted in many different ways. But when it comes to AI, you just say you because you can't be like, I want you to portray something happy necessarily, right? Or like something
you can
from
give it a vibe.
yes,
but yeah.
yes, but no at the same time,
Yeah.
right? It's like let's say I'm trying to recreate a sculpture or a painting based off of like a memory or like something that inspired me necessarily, right?
And what does that
And-
make you do when you're trying to do that?
What do you mean?
That's actually a really good point. When you say you're trying to recreate a memory of something, right? Okay. And so you have to dig
Right.
deep.
Right,
and you,
right,
and
right,
you have
right.
to convey that into words to this thing. And it's going to spit it out.
Exactly.
And the
And
first four
it's-
images it does, it's not what you're thinking. And you keep clicking refresh until you hit it. And then you're like, fuck, because I have done that. I wrote a little excerpt on something about a year ago.
Right.
And when I wrote that thing, I was using DALL-E 2, trying to... no, it's not published. But yeah, I wrote this...
Send me the link.
Yeah. I actually have them physically printed off. I'll give one to you.
Uh-huh.
But I wrote this little... I'm not going to call it a book, a little excerpt. It was like 50 pages. And I was trying to...
A little manifesto.
Yeah, exactly. And I was trying to get it to show, because it was so hard to explain what I was trying to like picture. And I kept trying different things, and I kept trying different whatever. And then, and DALL-E 2, if anyone's used it shows 4 images, and you can redo it or whatever. And when the one popped up, that it was like, oh shit,
That's it.
there was emotion and there
Yeah.
was whatever, which is just to me. So that's a whole nother aspect
To you,
of
right,
it.
right.
To me of that. And it was like, this is what. And obviously that's RNG. That's random number generator. That's random shit.
And again, though, it's like, sorry to cut you off,
No, of
but
course.
like, as an artist, you created something that you think portrays what you were trying to portray.
Yes.
When you're random generating something, you didn't necessarily create it.
No.
So it's like
Yeah,
it
that's a
takes
good point.
it takes the artistry out of it because
It
you're
does,
just you're,
but
you're
the
shifting
ending was
through
the same.
right. But like with randomness, like you could never come to it randomly.
Yeah, exactly.
Right at the same time. Obviously, you did, and
It's fucking cool.
right. But like
And that's a really good point. Because
so it's again like as an artist, you're trying to portray something, and you create something that you think portrays what you're trying to recreate or portray or whatever, something that you're trying to evoke from your viewers or your public or like whoever you're your audience is, right? But with AI, it takes all of that away because you yourself aren't creating, and that's it kind of goes back to an earlier episode we were talking, and it's are you using AI to create the thing, or are you using AI as a tool to create the overall
those
thing?
are two different things.
Right, exactly. It is two different things. Using it as a tool to help you versus using it to just create it.
And one thing that I think goes perfectly hand in hand with this is that, and again, I'm not for it or against it. I don't really know. We're just
We're just spitballing here.
But what I think one of the positives that it does for someone like me,
right.
okay, is the fact that what I think it does is it does take meaning away from real artists who can do it, right? But that's also, which is great, and that should be protected in some way. That is a very great thing,
Right.
or a very great skill or a talent. A lot of skills and talents have been fucking fucked by technology, but that one is meaningful to at least the 4 people that were sitting here.
Right.
For someone like me, like when I see Nick's drawings and stuff, like if I wanted to portray something, I have no way of doing that. And I don't. It is not a skill that I have. So what I'm saying is I would have to go to someone like Nick, or someone who can draw or paint or depict what I am telling them to do. And how am I telling them what to do?
Right.
In words. Do you see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
So what it does is, even though it's randomness, but it's not, because it's still taking what you put into it, and it does try to put that together. What it does is it gives, I believe it gives accessibility to people. Like when I wanted to write my little thing, it was for fun. I'm not going to go hire someone to depict this shit. Would it have worked a lot better? Probably. If I could sit down with someone who can feel what I'm feeling, and there's another feeling, emotion part to it. But at the end of the day, I mean, that artist would get the tone. They would get other things. Fine. It is words spoken to them, and they create it.
Right.
Based on, and they're still going to have their own touch to it.
Yeah.
So then when you go to the AI stuff of like, I have this thing that I'm trying to portray, and I have to put it in the best words possible.
Right.
And put it on there. And then it takes a global information of the internet to put that together. It's somewhat the same thing when you take money out of it.
Yeah.
Because obviously they would get paid for it.
And yeah, I mean, kind of going off of that even further, I would say, kind of like what you said, is protect the artistry, right? Because AI art wouldn't be anything without artists themselves, right? Because you have to feed some sort of information to the AI, right? There had to be some prior.
Exactly, it's already
prior,
human
right? So
it.
It's taking. Basically, what I'm trying to say is protect artists, because there would be no AI without artists.
Yes.
Let's say, since the beginning of time, copywriting was a thing, and every artist copyrighted everything, and you can't feed it into an AI. You know, everything's trademarked, everything's whatever, everything's protected. There would be no AI art without any
100%. I'm on there for. I'm for it.
So yes.
How do you do that? I don't know.
But like you're saying, it is exactly, not exactly, but it's very, very much the same thing, where you're going to someone to create something for you based off of what you feel, based off of the emotion that you're trying to evoke. AI is essentially that artist.
Yeah.
Based off of world knowledge, everything that's been fed to it. So
yeah,
no, at the end of the day, it is very, very similar to the same thing.
And it sucks for the fucking artists.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, again, I'm not against it. I'm not for it. It's just it is something that is, and we're just here.
Happening. I mean, it's the same thing when the fucking calculator came out. I mean, you could have there was probably people who made a career on a fucking abacus. And then this calculator thing came out, and it's like, well,
you either adapt or you fucking fade away.
Yeah, and so what I don't like, and again, like I've said, I'm not just trying to have a neutral standpoint, but I really don't have it. It just goes both ways.
Yeah.
But what I will say, what I don't like is that and this is the problem with, like we defined earlier, narrow AIs, is that if it's only feeding on what it has and it takes over artistry, there will be nothing else to feed it unless it can abstract.
I mean,
and
it
go
stays
beyond.
stagnant at that point.
Exactly.
Right?
So you still have to have the artist feeding it something. And I guess there's that snowball effect if it could feed off of its own things, but that's still...
But even then,
And
like
that
it
is
doesn't. It's still not learning anything because
Exactly.
it's only a finite amount of information,
Thank you.
right?
And that's the whole point of my message right there, is that
no, I understand. that.
LLMs are not
And-
AGI. That's the point.
And then not based off of that, but I'm here to say that AI is a part of life at this point, right? Whether
is.
it's AGI or narrow, but I am here to say that it is not art in it of itself the way that it has been tried to be sold off of, and people shouldn't try to make money off of art the way that artists try to make a career out of it, right?
So where I want to stop you there is where I
Whoa.
where I try to look at it is I take money out of it
No,
because
okay,
we're in
and
such a
that's-
fucking
I was-
crooked, horrible society.
I was gonna lean
Like-
into that where, as an artist, you're charging a commission based off of your experience and based off of like the amount of time that it's gonna take to create said piece.
Yeah.
If you're gonna try and sell AI art, don't price it at that point because it doesn't take the same amount of effort,
Yeah, exactly.
right? It doesn't.
Time is money, of course.
Time is money, and if you're pricing it at the same rate as an actual artist that is creating something with
It's
their bare
fucked.
hands,
It is fucked.
it's fucked. Don't do that. That's
I
I mean
don't-
that's my stance when it comes to AI art, right?
Yeah.
In parentheses. 'Cause
When I
that's-
think of AI art, you have to take the money out of it because then you can actually focus on the
that's
purpose.
what yeah. So
And you can focus
that-
on. That's why I said the emotion.
on
and
the other side,
yeah.
yes, if you're just doing it for the shits and giggles of it, of like,
or
oh,
the outcome.
yeah,
the
no, it's
actual
just like I'm
outcome.
just creating something because it's fun, right? Cool. Don't try to make a career out of it, taking money from those people that are actually creating
Of
something
course.
from their experience and taking the time to actually do it.
Of
That's
course.
that's the one stance I will stand
And
firmly
I will agree with
on.
you on
yeah,
that.
it's
Yeah.
just like don't
fuck
don't do that.
fuck the money aspect. of it.
price it for what it is. It's something that you fed it information that I'm sure you didn't necessarily like have to like sit there and type for hours and
Yeah,
hours on
of
end of
course.
feeding it.
Of
It's
course.
it's something that is already programmed with it prior, and
There
it's spitting
is-
something
it's
out.
not a lot, but there is. If you're going for something specific, there is the human involvement of it, of choosing what it is and how to, or like we're getting there, but it's not what I'm looking for. Like the
Right.
perfect example is the thing I wrote, and I just kept refreshing and adding no, this and that and this,
and
and
just
it's like,
adding a little. Like,
and then
little-
it's like,
yeah.
so there was a human element because
Right,
if you
right.
just feed it that, it's like the first 25
I
it
mean,
came up
you're
with wasn't
basically
it.
honing it from this to this to this
Yeah,
to this to
exactly.
this until it gets
So-
to something that it's like, oh, this is what I was going for, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think with that, is it art? Is it not? I mean, that's an opinion. That's up to anyone. I don't really have one yet, but it's I think if you go at it from a career standpoint, it's completely fucked up. Don't try
Yep.
to make a living off of it. If you go at it from an outcome, then the source shouldn't matter.
Yeah.
From
And
that
then
point.
going off of what you said earlier of in my industry of I am an amateur cinematographer and photographer, but I mainly edit, and I mean I use it as a tool.
As a tool,
I use
it's
it as a
amazing.
tool, and it is amazing what it has come to. Because let's start with photographs. It's not a beta anymore, but Photoshop has an AI generator.
Generative fill.
And it is amazing. At first, it was pretty buggy. Like you had to, like you said, you had refresh. Is this helpful? No, it's not. Refresh. But it's gotten better. It's gotten better, and it's gonna keep getting better. And then now we're looking at video generative fill, where it's still at it's just now come out as a beta for Premiere. Not Da Vinci yet, and I'm a Da Vinci person. Like, I will always advocate for Da Vinci. It's so much better. I mean, you still edit on Premiere because of AutoPod.
I
right?
have to.
Yeah.
I did like Da Vinci when I did the
Dude, Da
one thing,
Vinci's so much better. Dude, it's everything. It's everything.
I will say
But-
with the tool part, what there's a love and there's a hate. The thing is that you and I can both love it, whether it's in a video aspect, a film aspect, or a programming aspect. We love it because, and I completely believe this between the two of us, what we have asked that to do, I know that I could do. It would just take me 6 to 7 hours. Okay,
no, and that's what I'm saying. I use it
that's what's
as a
good.
tool. Yes.
Then there's the hate about it, is that with this, people who didn't grow up or didn't have to do the other stuff, it's not that I want them to go through anything like that. Obviously, I don't want people to go through painstaking things of whatever, but is it going to inhibit who knows more in society and who knows less? Because
Probably.
as these tools become a crutch, to us, we are lucky because we grew up in this age. I had to learn programming. You had to learn cinematography stuff as it was. If you asked me to make whatever, or if life or death, you had to say you have a picture of someone sitting on a hill and you did generative fill on the sides. Life or death, I know you could fucking do it on both sides and make it look real. It would take a long fucking time.
Yes.
But you know you could do it.
Yeah.
And that's not the point that I'm saying that you know you could do it. It's not a pride thing. It's the fact that when these things get so big that you can't understand how it works, that's when it gets scary. Because that's when whoever does know how it works becomes a
commodity.
And that's when humans are valued less, or they are whatever. We're not going to go into society and culture as it is right now. But I'm not going to go into conspiracy shit either. But
No, do it.
we are becoming reliant on these things that a lot of people don't understand, and they never will.
Yeah.
And so those people that do understand it will always have control over what we have, and what we do, and how we work, and all this.
And I mean,
other stuff.
that's a great point, and it's something that we've touched on this podcast before. Is, so I'm out of the three of us, out of Nick, Jordan, and myself, I'm the most amateur when it comes to, like video, in and of itself, and one thing that we touch on is learning the manual side of it, right? Like working a camera, learning ISO, aperture, like all that stuff is learning the manual of how to fix something if it's fucked, right? Like in the field, like these cameras are like civilian cameras. They're dummy proof. Your iPhone camera, like you can take a great picture.
Those are not. You fuck up. You fuck up.
These, exactly, and that's what I'm saying.
Learn that the hard way.
Yeah. If you don't know the manual side of it, is you're kind of fucked if something happens where it's like, shit, I have to learn how to adjust, right? Like an iPhone. You're going to take a great picture. It's got auto ISO. It's got auto exposure. It's got like everything, right?
And it's good for the average consumer.
And it's good for the average consumer that doesn't know the manual side of working cameras.
And they don't need to. What I'm worried about is people that are in it.
Exactly, and that's I mean that's one aspect of it is like just cameras themselves, but it comes to everything in the world, like mechanics. Like if we have something that fixes everything, and we don't require mechanics when something fucking grandiose happens where we need mechanics, and there's no one that knows mechanics or any aspect of the world as we see it, we're fucked, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's why we need that shit.
And it's one thing that
can I stop? You have to pee so bad,
dude. Yeah, let's take a break. We'll just cut this part out.
Weirdly artistic.
And we're back. Yeah.
We had to pee.
But what were we saying? Yeah, learn the manual side.
Yes, there you go.
So, like with anything in the world, if you learn the manual side, because everything is automated at this point, right? And everything in the world is about efficiency and automating everything. if you learn the manual side of everything that you're automating, you become just so much more valuable, not just to yourself, but like in society itself, right?
Yeah, I agree with that. It's what I think is. That's why I don't know where this is gonna go. Of like, what's that noise?
It's the bar.
Oh, gotcha.
Just like a stool just dragging on the floor.
Right? That guy was pulling up to that girl next to him at the bar.
Hey, yo, girl.
Yeah. Hey, shawty.
Do you watch New Girl, dude?
Yeah, I've seen it. Everyone
Okay.
says I'm Schmidt. Which
No,
I don't know.
Okay,
if I'm
no,
supposed to
like
be
I love
upset
Schmidt. He's one of my favorite
Okay,
characters,
thank
bro. But like,
'Cause he has
there's
a
like
kimono.
there's this episode. Dude, he dies with a kimono. There's this episode where he's like, he's dating what's her name, the super hot model.
Jess's best friend?
Yeah, I forgot what her name is.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
But and he's also dating like his old girlfriend from when he was fat.
Yeah, I just watched those.
Okay,
yes.
and then he was like, he goes up to the hot model and he's like, "Hey, so I'm gonna start calling you Shawty in public." He just says like the douchiest shit, bro.
So
I
stupid.
fucking love that.
I have his shirt, the registered sex defender. I have that shirt. Yeah.
No, like it's dude. Schmidt is one of my favorite characters.
Okay,
He's
I'm
so,
glad because I've
dude,
been called that by like 8 different people.
dude. No,
Okay,
That's
I'm
a
glad.
compliment.
I took it as an offense at first.
no,
but-
that's a compliment.
Okay.
I wish I could be Schmidt.
okay, that's good to know. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, okay.
Shawty. Hey, what up, Shawty?
Hey, what's up, Sean? This has never
That's
worked.
so cringe, bro.
That
Dude,
doesn't
it's
work. on
never
anybody.
worked.
The only thing, yeah, there we go. Had to catch my thought there. When it comes to fucking people understanding it and learning it, what I am fearful of is a society that doesn't know what it's using.
Forgotten
think that's-
knowledge, basically.
Or what?
Forgotten knowledge.
Yeah,
Like
that.
you just forget everything,
and then
where
it's
like
passed
if
down.
shit
We have
happens,
this
you're just like fucked.
horrible hierarchy of not even conspiracy shit, but you know there are classes to people, there are elite people, there are families that run things, and
Yeah.
you know bankers and shit, and you know they already keep shit from us now, and it's like as we get more reliant on these tools and these things, I think it's very apparent. And it comes down to the teachers of these things or the employers of something to be like, you can use these tools, but you need to learn. And when you're in that position, you hate it because you're like, oh, I could just do it with this. But then it's like, as a society, as a culture, you can't
we
lose
don't
that.
value, like as a society, we don't value the just the more manual side of things, right? Of like actually knowing, because like take like the zombie show, Walking Dead, for example, right? Like, yeah, like obviously like zombies is probably like very fucking far-fetched and it's probably never gonna happen, but like if society falls for some fucking reason, like we lose power for forever, like if people don't know how to like hunt, how to like sew and do all that shit, how to like do medical shit without machines, like we're kind of like fucked.
We are fucked.
We're fucked. And it like,
And I actually don't understand how humans ever became the top of the food chain, because like when a baby is born, it's fucking useless.
you
And
know what's
it
funny?
can't
I just listened to a podcast where you and Z were talking about
Oh
that.
no shit.
Yeah.
Oh,
where
that's
you were
crazy.
like, how do like babies like do that? Like, how did we become the thing? Because like you said like
a baby
horse
cow
or a
or a
baby cow,
horse.
like instantly
gets
like
up and it starts
yeah, it's
walking.
walking, dude. Humans, like if you're not taking care of that baby for like the first 4 or 5 years,
It's going
it's
to die.
fucked.
I mean, and I think with society as it is now, I mean, 10 years it'll fucking die. Back in the day when they, you know, taught shit more and it wasn't so, you know, life in a cul-de-sac type of shit. I mean, yeah, maybe 5 years old it could figure some shit out, but it's like we're fucked. And we rely on this infrastructure that's been built, which is really cool and it's really amazing because I mean, in a sense, nothing has really changed. Like, you know, say, you know, hundreds or thousands of years ago. I mean, life is always work. Like, you would get up and you would just have to get food on the table. You would go take care of the food, or you would, the farm, and you're growing crops and all this shit and all that crap to survive. Now we just go work for something else for a currency to go buy the thing. So you're still working. You're always fucking working.
And to get a little political and philosophical on you, do you think that's by design? Because, like,
I think that is inherent in human nature.
Yes, but as time is told, I feel like as you're more reliant on your government or like.
Oh yeah, well that is by design,
right? Like if you
100%.
dumb down the society, like it's a lot easier to control.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
So it's
no, I'm on there 100%. Yeah, I believe with you that 100%.
And it's funny though because like we had that's the talk at the political event that we shot where it was like. A lot of these people were just eating it up, and me and you that have had a little more experience with like racial things. It's like we kind of like picked up on
obviously
some of the
not
things.
Personally.
No, but like you've been around.
I had to say that.
No,
you and I, the white boy here, we with blue eyes. Yeah,
my blonde-haired, blue-eyed friend over here. No, but like people that like I've been around a little more like racial stuff because like I like on some of your podcasts you talk about how like you've been around some shit, and me personally like being Mexican growing up like I experienced some like very racial shit, and it's that kind of like where we are a little more attuned to stuff like that. And it almost feels like it's by design where like if you dumb down the society, it's a lot easier to control. And
that way, yeah.
Like because you can't survive if you don't rely on us. So rely on us.
And that is power. And what does everyone want? They want power, sex, and money. It's like the top three.
Yeah.
And that's what fucking happens. And if you dumb everything down and you fucking, if the people have to rely on you, then you're fucked. Which we're getting political. I'm not gonna try to get too political, but we are technically a democracy, which means technically by words, which means that the people run it. Right. But we don't.
On paper, we're a democracy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But we don't at all.
When it comes...
And it's fucked.
And, I mean, in my personal opinion, we're not a democracy, and it's...
No, we're not. I'm saying, but
I know.
I'm
trying to, like, say what I think we are is... I guess I have to look more into like what a republic is versus a democracy because I think we're more like a republic versus an actual democracy. Okay. And I think our government has become a little bit more fascist.
Our government just does whatever the fuck they want.
Well, I know, and if you look up the definition of fascism, again, take everything I say with a grain of salt. Of course. Look up the actual definition. But a fascist society is one where the government holds power and enforces things with law enforcement.
That's what we are. And I think the greatest example to prove your point is drugs. I'm going to go off on a little thing here. So
please.
when
after dark.
Yeah, so when you can be pro-drug, anti-drug, whatever the fuck. The problem is that we are the only country in the world that has commercials and advertises prescription drugs. It's us and New Zealand are the only two countries in the world that do that,
really?
Which is fucking weird. Yeah, because it should be up to an actual medical provider, not you asking them about something, if it's for a medical reason. Number two, I don't know how many countries. I know it's very few that actually schedule them. So what happened with America, the United States of America, is we decided to make this scheduling fucking program, which is it's gonna work into your point fucking perfectly of this control thing of where you have like you go to. Fuck, I know this is recorded, so I can't say specific countries because I'm not exactly sure.
Just say country A, country B.
A lot of other countries, it's just illegal or it's legal. There's not this gray area of stuff, right? And so with the
have something to go off of that, but continue. Yeah.
So with the United States of America, there is this culture of, and a guy by the name of Hamilton Morris said a perfect example of this, and I'm going to try to reiterate his analogy for this. So imagine music is made, right? And it's recorded and you hear but the government outlaws it because it could hurt your hearing. You could be listening to it and be distracted and walk in front of a vehicle. It could be physically harming, and it definitely could, right? It could be great. Blah, 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 blah. So as the United States society is, it's like, okay, so it's fine to listen to music, just don't make it. Don't record it, right? And then it's like, it's fine if you listen to it, but don't sell it, right? And you kind of can see the parallels I'm making here. And then studies come out and all this shit, and then it's like, oh, music is really good for, anxiety. It's good for depression. It can lift a mood. It can be healing in some things, like actually physically and all this stuff. But for that group, organization, government to say that they fucked up and said that it was originally wrong and go back on it is fucking, it's a very hard and long process. So the problem with America now, and I'm using this as an example with drugs and power and everything, is that we do things so differently that it gives them a selective prosecution of when weed wasn't legal in Washington, most everyone was smoking it anyways, and half the cops, anyone didn't give a fuck. But if they're trying to get something on you, if it's a selective prosecution, it's a Schedule 1 drug. And technically, it's a fucking felony, and you're supposed to go to fucking prison for it.
Right.
But then all this shit comes out of how it's medicinal effects, and it's this slow, burning, just
backtracking
awful process to just get it to the right people that fucking need it. Same thing with psilocybin, for... and the
depression and all that kind of stuff.
Ketamine finally is approved, which is an amazing leap forward because that actually, there's clinics in Seattle and it cures depression, anxiety in a couple treatments, and it's amazing. But it's just this overall, and that's just one little portion of this picture that the government makes of they don't just do one thing or the other. It's these well, this is a Schedule 2, so whatever, but the Schedule 1 is this, and it's just socially acceptable, but just don't get caught kind of thing. But everyone fucking has it and does it.
Well,
and
kind of going off of that, the war on drugs in and of itself, right?
I'm on the drug side.
We won.
We did.
Yeah, drugs won.
Yeah, good. Well, because they make money.
But kind of going off of that is the differences between crack and cocaine. They're the same thing. Yes. They're basically the exact same thing, just in different forms. And when it came to
African communities,
when it came to that, is crack was portrayed as this dirty drug.
It was
where
the poor people drug.
The poor people drug, where it's worse. Blah 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 blah.
The sentencing on that was quite
crazy,
quadruple.
Right? It was crazy. The difference
30 years
between
to 2 years
between what they considered a black people drug and a white people drug was crack is way worse, blah, blah, blah. We're going to sentence you 4 times what someone who is a rich person drug. And it kind of correlates with classism and the way racism has done its thing in U.S. culture.
I agree 100%.
Is,
and then, which we're not going to whatever, but I remember this as a kid seeing it on fucking, because my parents watch Fox News or some shit. Obama sentenced it down, the crack thing, but it wasn't even a lot. It was still 3 times more, and it's what the fuck are we doing? And that's perfect thing to my point. And it's this it's selective. It's this whole selective thing of you can have coke, but you can't have crack. And then there's all these dirty things behind it of why, and it's God.
I feel like it's just it's propaganda to slander a certain part of society.
Yeah, 100%.
And I feel like that's not to get political, even though, whatever.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's what a lot of U.S. laws and culture, society was classism and slandering one class to elevate another class.
We're still there. There's still the elitists and the fucking whatever.
Redlining still happens, all that kind of bullshit.
And it's fucked. And it's the same thing with weed. the crazy thing that weed is scheduled, because cocaine is Schedule 2, if you didn't know that, because of its numbing effect.
And for those that don't know, including myself, Schedule 1, Schedule 2, like what are the differences? And I think there's a Schedule 3.
Okay, so
Up to 4, right?
Schedule 1, there's a lot of them. Schedule 1 means no possible, no, I don't know if possible is the right word, no medical use at all.
Okay.
And weed is in that, just so you know.
Okay.
That's what's crazy
Still.
about this. Yeah, still. Federally, it's still a Schedule 1 drug.
Even though it's like been proven that it is medicinal.
To my point. And
Okay.
what I was about to say is that the only reason weed was a Schedule 1 drug is because back in whatever fucking time, a while ago, decades ago, hemp was going to be used as
With
a
wood, right?
suitable
For the lumber industry.
for the lumber industry.
Yes,
So
that's actually
lumber,
something that I learned about as well.
Same thing with fucking Weyerhaeuser up here in Seattle. $1 billion company from lumber starts this fear campaign where you smoke weed and you start fucking killing people.
Right. So
And
they
so
outlawed
then-
hemp, which had no
THC in it.
THC in it.
But
that
it-
was the
but it got both of them.
right, exactly. And that's
Exactly.
I read and have heard multiple things about it, that it was like back in like the 30s or 40s,
Yeah,
where
it's
the
this
lumber
fear
industry was
You can look up those old
yeah,
ads.
no, it was like a fear campaign of weed is bad. Oh, same with hemp.
It was just for money.
And even though hemp was a lot cheaper to produce paper, like a lot
Rope.
of just different rope products, like all that kind of stuff,
yeah.
to basically
It grew
elevate
faster. It
the-
did everything
yeah.
else. Yeah. And so they Schedule 1 that, which is insane. Cocaine is Schedule 2 because, like you rub, I mean, I wouldn't know, but you rub it on your gum.
Wait,
and
teach me how?
yeah. And it numbs it, it has a numbing effect.
Right,
So
right,
it
right.
could have, you actually, believe it or not, can get it. I mean, it's stupid rare. You can get a prescription for cocaine.
Yeah, no, I've heard
For
about
like
that.
cluster headaches or whatever.
I've heard
the
about
fuck.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, like I mean, most drugs you can get a prescription for.
yeah, it's insane.
Like honestly, except for like their hard shit like heroin,
morphine. There you go.
I mean, but
it's-
morphine and methadone are prescribed.
Yeah, and heroin's just an opiate. It's just fucking.
Yeah, I mean,
it's-
they use methadone to wean you off of heroin. It's like
yeah.
the closest thing to heroin, essentially. If
but you don't get a high from it.
right,
That's why.
really,
Yeah, on methadone, it takes away
the pain in
it takes away the feelings of withdrawal because it's still like I don't even know if it's an opiate.
well, you
but
get
it,
like the fix that you need, but you don't
but
get
you,
the high.
you don't get any physical effects from it.
Interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't know about that. Okay,
And so what's fucked up is like when people OD or whatever, and and so Narcan or whatever came out. Great,
Narcan.
Amazing drug.
Yeah.
Right. So every brain is like a.
well, they use Narcan to counteract opiates.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
yeah.
So every brain, every drug, there's a receptor to it in your
right,
brain.
right.
So opiates cling to the fucking, the opiate receptor. And then what's fucked up though is that when someone ODs, right? So they hit him with Narcan, and it's the antagonist
Yeah,
of fucking
it's an upper
opiate.
versus a downer.
Well, it binds to
A
the same
stimulant.
receptor and cancels it out.
Oh, interesting.
But what it does is it puts you in instant withdrawal.
oh,
So that's why they go, and that's why double ODs are so fucking common, because they start withdrawing again. But what you don't realize is that they're fine, but they still have all that original opiates in their
And there's
system. So
yeah.
then they go, even if they shoot up half as much or take half as much, you still have all the original in your system. You just can't feel it because it had an antagonist
Yeah.
to it. And then it happens
you're
again, and
taking
then you're
more,
fucking dead.
Yeah. And that's what I've heard with like relapsing too. Is a lot of the times like you have been withdrawn or whatever, and you relapse and you take almost like the same amount or like close to the same amount, and your body can't handle it anymore, and you
Yeah,
OD,
exactly.
right?
It's crazy. What is nuts about drugs though is that like we have a receptor for everyone. So it's like if
Well,
it's
I
gonna
mean, like,
work on us, like we
I
have
mean,
to have
if you-
something in
if
our
you think
brain.
about it, like it's all natural to a point, right? Like unless like I mean, there's drugs that are man-made, but they come from a natural source.
Yeah, they're a
essentially, right?
compound or
So
whatever.
like with everything in the world, like we interact with everything. Everything has a receptor for it. Like whether like I mean like take our taste buds for example. Like right, like every section of the tongue is designed to recept to a different taste, like sweet, sour.
Yeah, it's fucking nuts.
Yeah, like so again, like there's a different receptor for everything in this world. It's
Have you ever
just
heard of oh fuck, I'm losing it. So like the periodic table of elements?
Yeah.
There is only one element. So
xenon?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna. Did you listen to our podcast?
Yeah.
Oh fuck! All right, you're right.
But yeah, no, it's the only
It's the
element
only
that has
element.
a psychological.
Yeah, because elements are like the basis, and then everything are.
No, like
compounds from
I've been listening to like the old, like I'm on like
Oh,
episode
fuck.
like 20 something.
Oh shit!
No, and like it's just been a slow process where I'm
Ugh.
like, okay, I want to see what the fuck. And you guys
It's
are no,
years
you
ago.
guys are like, I mean, I've listened to your recent stuff and like your past stuff. Like you guys are funny.
Well, thank you.
You guys are dope. Like it's
appreciate
fun
that.
listening to you
I
guys.
appreciate that. Well, what's funny? I don't listen to any podcast.
No,
ever.
and you said that, yeah. And
Yeah.
like I haven't listened to like I listened to like the first like 5 episodes of ours just to kind of like
Oh, I'll never listen to mine.
be
ever,
like,
no.
okay, like yeah, like make sure it's like cohesive or whatever. But like I haven't listened to anything.
I don't
since
listen to
then.
mine. I don't listen to
And
any.
we're on episode 20. Well, this is episode 4.5
4.5.
of season 2.
Season 2.
And season 1 had 24, so this is like 29.
Nice.
Episode
And a
29.
half.
And
Love
yeah,
that.
no, 28 and a half.
28 and a half. I love that.
So, 29. Yeah.
What time are we at?
We're like at an hour 15.
Oh, well, you want to close it? I'm good.
Well, this was AI talk, AGI, and
political and
neuropolitical drugs.
That's
This
the
is
title.
Weirdly Artistic After Dark with Jose and Jack.
Hi. That could be a segment. Jose and J&J, baby.
Dude, we could do like our own podcast.
We could. Fuck them all. Let's go. Yeah.
No, but thank you for being on, dude. This is great having you on.
I appreciate you staying behind. By the way, we recorded the same one. We're wearing the same clothes, obviously.
You could probably tell from the
and
the
everyone else
fits.
left. You know what? I didn't want to like pressure anyone. I was letting everyone know. I was like, hey, if you want, I have no plans.
I had no plans.
And I'm like,
everyone's got their wife.
I took notes.
My
and so
wife is safe at home tonight, so
My girl lives in Seattle, and I live in Enumclaw. So
that's an hour drive for those of that don't know.
not
But
saying.
yeah, no. As always, do your thing. If you have questions, reach out to us.
I didn't even put my name on it.
What?
Director Jose Cameron Nick.
Oh, this is for the for this episode.
I know.
No, he changed it. He changed it. Didn't even have.
I couldn't even have my name on it.
It's weirdly extra. We're gonna have to. Okay, this is for
Weirdly
the
extra.
Patreon.
Yeah, weirdly
This is
extra.
for the. You have to pay for this shit.
Yeah, when we talk about
Not
drugs
for the
and
first
shit.
one. Well, actually, we could probably take that out at the.
My narcissism's kicking in, dude. Nick, I'm gonna shout you out right now. I had you write this because I wanted to write something, and then you took the pen because I was gonna put Jose and Jack, and you didn't even put my name on it, man.
Plug yourself real quick. Where can they find you?
Jack_Spence. Jose, where can they find you?
WeirdlyArtistic.com, or I don't know my other ats, so just look for me on
In the shadows.
yeah. So Aperture Ocean Productions on Instagram or WeirdlyArtistic.com on the web.
Yep.
So as always, Jack, do you know what they say out in the streets?
Get weird.
Stay weird.
Stay weird. Ah, it's my first day. I'm nervous.
Weirdly artistic. Weirdly artistic.
Damn, that's weird.